Am I the a-hole here?
Yes.
Which is
in parentheses, it should say yes.
John's response to everyone. Yeah, probably. At least in part.
That's right.
So we'll shift gears.
Let's do it.
We'll shift gears and we'll end on a little bit more of a lighter note, where Jon probably is going to victim blame somewhere in this.
There's no problem. There's no probably about it. It's happening. I do have a good one here that I think is interesting, and it maybe opens up discussion into other areas, specifically around parenting, and that's one I know that you and I enjoy tackling on occasion.
Yeah.
So this is off of Reddit, and the title is "Am I the asshole for giving one kid's Switch to the other?" My daughter, Lana, all of these are made up names, by the way, and they're in quotation marks and all that. So I'm not worried about putting somebody's, well, I shouldn't be worried anyways. They posted it on the internet, right?
On the internet, yes.
Yeah, you posted it out here. People are going to read it. My daughter, Lana, is 13 years old, and her brother, Lane, is 8.
Okay, wait.
What's that?
Oh, wait, these are made up names. I was going to say, I was going to make fun of them. Like, well, first of all, you're an asshole for naming your kids Lana and Lane.
I feel like even though they put quotes around the name, they did that with the names, guaranteed.
They at least did something like Daniel and Danielle.
That's right.
That's
right.
Like, okay.
So yes, you and I are already on the same page.
That's like the parents. It's like the parents that have like 3 or 4 kids, and they all have like all of their kids have a name that starts with L, and you're just like, really. I don't know why that annoys me so much. And I probably just like alienated some of our listeners sure. You know what?
That's what we do here.
There's going to be times where I'm going to be thinking about that and be like, that guy, why did they do that?
All right.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, all good. We got Lana 13, brother Lane is 8. They both got Switches a couple years ago when they were new. Lane's Switch recently started to have issues. It wasn't charging properly, and it would sometimes die in the middle of a game. So the 8-year-old brother, 13-year-old sister, the 8-year-old brother's Switch started to have issues and was dying in the middle of games. Well, it died recently in the middle of a battle in the game that he was playing, and he got really frustrated and threw it up against the wall. Now, it doesn't turn on at all. Here's the thing, though. Lane has anger management troubles.
Obviously.
We have a diagnosis and all.
Oh.
I think that sometimes he really cannot help getting so upset that he does things like that. I know he didn't think he was going to break the Switch, and now he's been feeling down. Lana used to play her Switch a lot back when Animal Crossing was new, but she's kind of lost interest and doesn't touch it much anymore. So I decided that since she rarely plays with it, I would give it to Lane in the meantime until he gets a new one, which will be his birthday in October. So for a couple of months, I'm asking Lana to share with her brother. So about 3 days later, Lana asked where her Switch was, and I told her I gave it to Lane, and she flipped out, saying that's her Switch and it's not her fault that Lane broke his. I told her all I'm doing is asking her to be nice and share since she doesn't play regularly and Lane plays almost daily. And I told her she is getting it back and I will give her a new game too. She said all she wants is for me to not take her stuff. And she took her Switch back from Lane. I really wanted to do what was best for my youngest, but my oldest response really has me questioning what I did. Reddit, am I the asshole? What are your thoughts?
Okay, a couple of things. We have a diagnosis and did you really need a diagnosis?
She said we have a diagnosis and all.
Like, yeah, your kid flips out and throws crap and breaks stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Diagnosis complete.
My kids.
You could get that on WebMD.
That it's one of the few times WebMD would be accurate. Okay.
Where it wouldn't say could be cancer.
Yeah, that's right. I stub my toe and I look it up and I guess I got 6 months to live. That scenario, it would say your kid has an anger problem. That's it.
Yeah. I'll say your kid's a bit of an a-hole. Yeah, I guess. All right. How would I handle this if this happened in the Higgins family? How would this get handled?
Sure.
It's one thing. It would be totally different if the thing just got broken, right? And it'd be like, hey, I'd like for you to share this with your brother. Like he uses this all the time. You don't play it that much. I need you to help me out.
Mommy left it on the bumper, and when I pulled out of the driveway, it fell and it shattered. And I can't get him a new one right now. Can you guys share until we can fix this?
Yes. Or even if he dropped it and broke it, right?
Sure.
Like my son,
Accident.
he had, before they had phones, that, where there was an iPod and he dropped it and the screen got all goofy and he felt really bad about it.
Yep.
Fortunately, I was able to just press the screen. It was just a little connector.
Yeah, but still, right?
But I was like,
accidents happen.
Yes. And it's like, and you felt bad. You showed the proper emotion. You didn't feel entitled, like, I broke this, so I'm going to need a new one. Right? Like, okay, how you react is going to dictate how I handle that situation.
Well, and I think what you're also saying is how it happened, right? Because there's a difference between dropping and elbow dropping.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, like, you see on YouTube those videos of like kids get mad and throw their controller at their TV and it breaks.
Yes.
Guess what? Your TV's gone.
It's gone.
And yeah, I might replace it if it ends up being a teachable moment where like your kid ends up realizing that, like, yeah, that was not the right response. I can't be doing that. Like, but there's going to be a period of time that you don't have that thing. I'm going to turn the screws a little bit to make sure that lesson really lands, or you're going to do extra chores around the house before you get this, like to earn some extra money. Like we're going to come up with a way that you're going to have some skin in this replacement. Right. This is just a kid who he broke his. And so the mom, by just trying to like, well, we're trying to work through these anger issues. What might help is learning cause and effect.
That's right.
Because what you're teaching that kid is that cause and effect is, I do something and then mom will fix it. So
she just writes it off. And he'll believe, because children are little sponges, right? They're not as much as people out there might want to say that their 2-year-old has it all figured out and is very self-aware, right? They are still
like
trying to look
like those celebrity tweets where they're like, my kid just came to me and was like, Mom, Dad, how come like colored people and white people can't just love each other and get along? And it's, like, and it's always like, your 2-year-old did not come to you and say that. You're posting that.
It would never happen. So yes, these kids are learning. And when this kid gets upset and throws a switch against the wall out of anger, and he hears you say, whether to him or to somebody else, and he's listening, that, well, Lane just has anger problems. He's been diagnosed by it, but we're working through it. And then you buy him the stuff that he breaks. He's going to start using that as a mental excuse, right? When I'm mad, I'm free to just punch a wall because I have anger issues. It's not my fault. There's nothing I can do about it.
That's like in teaching, when you'd hear the kids would say like, well, I have ADHD, and I'd be like, cool, so do I, and I've graduated from college 3 times. Okay, so you can do your freaking vocab sheet by Friday. Okay. Right. That's not an excuse. That's just something you're going to have to work with and figure out how to work around.
It is an excuse at their house. And that's the problem. And that's what I think we're seeing here.
Yes. The other issue I have with this is that mom didn't talk to the sister beforehand. Didn't talk to her daughter.
Straight up jacked it and gave it to him.
In our house, and let's say like whatever the circumstances are, and it's like, okay, this is a great pivotal teachable moment. Yeah. Okay. And I feel like the lessons landed, but here's what we're going to do in the meantime. I would go to his sister and be like, hey, listen, would you help me out with this? You don't do this very often. In my house, I use monetary bribes for things.
If you help me, here's some sort of incentive and some sort of reward.
When we were doing remote learning all last year and my kids were like, this sucks, and we're struggling with their motivation. Yep. Cool. We're going to buy you hamsters to entertain you when you get bored in your class. And if I get home from work on Friday and you have all of your assignments complete, and we'll log in and check, you get $5. Like, hey, guess what happened? My kids got all kinds of awards from their teachers for like being engaged and going every day and turning all their work in. I use monetary bribes all the time. People are like, that's bad parenting. You should. Hey, I'm a
You don't go
capitalist.
to work for free. I don't.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. So I have no problems with like, hey, listen, here's what we're gonna do. I'm going to rent this from you for the next 2 months. How about that?
Right. Right.
I'll rent it from you. You're happy. You hardly play it.
Yep.
Like, and you're gonna get it back, and you're going to have made money
Yes.
renting it. And
Right.
I'm going to have taught you a valuable lesson about like marketing and ride sharing and like,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, I would have come to an arrangement on that way. So is she the a-hole for how she handled it? I think so.
Yeah.
I think 100%. And I think that kid's probably a little bit of an a-hole too. Or if
Yep.
he's not,
Right.
like, dude, you're calling out a kid. Yeah.
No. 100%.
I'm not above calling out a kid on something like that. But I will say, if he's not truly, if that's too mean, if that's too
I
severe
don't care.
to
No,
say
I
at
don't
this
care.
point, I will say if you don't change the way these things get handled, he's definitely going to become an a-hole.
I don't care. And look, I'll say this for everybody listening, and understanding
Wait,
how
wait,
it's gonna.
let
Oh, did you? Perfect. Listen, when my kid was in T-ball, there was more than one kid, so I don't want to single anybody out. But we'll talk about one kid specifically that every single practice, every single game was throwing fits, was out in the field, didn't want to participate, sitting on the ground, trying to get other people to, slack off with him, and would constantly be physical with other children. Okay. Which I don't condone. All right. And one day I saw them sitting in the dugout, and this kid was sitting next to Liam, and the kid started headbutting Liam. They both had their baseball helmets on, but he's headbutting him hard and laughing about it. And Liam was like uncomfortable and asked him to stop multiple times. And the kid didn't stop. Then the kid tells the coach, and the coach didn't do anything about it. And I told my kid, and I'm the reason I'm saying this is because if anybody is listening and being sympathetic and understanding with this parent who is allowing her child to act like this and not stepping in and correcting the behavior, I need you to know that there's parents out there like me. I told my kid at 6 that the next time I saw a kid headbutting him, pushing him around, or pushing other kids on the team around, and the coaches aren't doing anything about it, and parents aren't stepping in to do anything about it, I fully expect my child to lay that kid out, to full on knock him out. I was like, Liam, you will never. I've taught my son how to punch. I've taught him how to elbow. I've taught him how to wrestle. Like, you will never get in trouble if somebody is acting like that and taking it to that level to you or somebody else. You will never get in trouble by me for stepping in and handling the situation. So my ask to assholes like this parent is correct your child's behavior
yeah.
before somebody else has to, right? I would love it. I would be the parent in the crowd with a smile on my face, and I don't really care who has a problem with that. If I saw somebody being physical and being a little asshole, and my kid had to step up and lay that kid out, I think it would be fantastic. And I know there's parents, oh, violence is never the answer. Well, then tell that to the little asshole that's going around headbutting everybody. Tell it to this 8-year-old that is throwing their Switch against the wall just because it died in a battle. When don't act like the fact that it died. That's the other part that I have a problem here. She says recently started to have issues. No, it started to have issues because this is how he handles his emotions.
Yeah, it's
right?
likely not the first time this thing has hit the wall.
That's why it's been having issues lately. And so then you go down and I see that, okay, you're making excuses. He's got anger management problems. What it sounds to me like is you don't want to get in and do the hard work to help him find healthy ways to manage his emotions, because we all get frustrated, we all get angry, and no, physical altercations and violence is not the answer, unless, in my opinion, somebody's being violent to you. That being said, then at the end you say, I really wanted to do what was best for my youngest. Well, if you really want to do what's best for your youngest, then step up and parent during difficult times. as easy as it is with somebody who's emotionally unstable, which show me an 8-year-old out there that doesn't have their moments of emotional instability,
Sure.
as difficult as it is, step in and parent, and don't just give him the switch that he's on every day and say, well, he seems to be happy when that's happening, so it's all good, right? Step in and set ground rules, set boundaries. And I'm not trying to say that my way of parenting is for everybody. I'm probably creating a whole plethora of issues in my son. I mean, a good example today is Harper went to get a fruit snack. She's 3. She went to get a fruit snack, and while she was getting one, which it was okay that she got one because she had asked her mom first, she got one for Liam, all on her own.
Hmm.
Nobody suggested it. Nobody anything. She just showed up and said, "Liam, here, I got you a fruit snack." And he didn't even say thank you. He
Mm.
grabbed the fruit snack and he said, "Oh, well, could you get the other kind?" And she didn't know what he's talking about. So he jumps up, goes and gets the other kind that he wanted in the bowl, because there's 2 different kinds of fruit snacks, comes back with 3 bags of the other kind for himself. I wasn't even that upset that he had 3 bags. These are small bags. If he wanted some fruit snacks, I genuinely wouldn't have cared. Even if he had just asked me, I probably would have said yes.
Yeah. Anymore, they only put like 4 fruit snacks
That's
in
right.
those
That's right.
bags.
But the fact that she on her own did something for him that he didn't say thank you for, and then to correct what he, the type to what he wanted, he went back and got 3 bags, but didn't bring her anymore. I was floored. I said, "Liam, what do you think is wrong with this picture right now?" And I explained it to him. She brought you something without you asking, just because she wanted to be nice. You didn't even say thank you. Then you went and got more than what she had brought you and more than what she has in her hands, but you didn't bring her anything. Do you see the multiple levels of why I'm not happy with what's happening right now? And it was like, I want you to put all of them back, and you're not having any. And Harper, you get to have 2 fruit snacks now. And Liam's sitting there crying. And it's like, I want you to cry. I
Yeah.
want you to understand that it's important to me that you're thankful, you're grateful, and you're kind. And you're actually thinking about other people and their needs the way that your 3-year-old sister did for you. I expect it for, like, look, I'm guarantee there's a lot of people out there, probably psychologists and everything, that would say, no, this guy's an asshole and he's, probably raising an absolute monster. But I'm not, I don't think I am, right? I have expectations for my children. And if my kid were to throw a switch or an iPad or something against a wall, that's gone. Like,
Right.
you
Yeah.
are never looking at a switch again until I think that you are emotionally mature enough to handle it. And that's probably going to be in a couple of years.
Yeah.
Like, it ain't going to be next week.
It's hard because, like, and look, Tamara and I aren't the greatest parents in the world. I'm sure, like you said, I think you try to like fix things that maybe you felt like your parents could have done a better job at, and
Sure.
then just create
Sure.
additional issues like in
That's
the
right.
process.
That's right. It's all
I think
new
that's like the
issues.
true parenting. Like, my
Yes.
parents righted some wrongs from their childhood and probably created some issues.
Yes.
And, and then
Yes.
there's like, well, I wish my parents had been more like this, so I'm going to be like this. And my kids are like, oh, my freaking parents, or, whatever. Right. Like,
It happens.
such is life.
That's right.
But one thing that I will say is, like, my son's made it all the way through, like, now he's starting high school. So we made it through the junior high years with very little issue. My daughter, unless things take a turn for the worse, is on
Sure.
track. Now, that being said, high school, we could veer. Okay. I'm not saying like we
Jury's still
cracked
out.
the code. But I'm saying we've been parenting long enough to have a little bit of like cause and effect data to look at.
Yes.
And regularly at parent teacher conferences, we get thanked by teachers for our students being kind, respectful, and sometimes
Same.
like there's a couple of those times where it's like, your kid's been goofing off a little. And then I'm kind of like, well,
Right.
how quickly is he getting his work done? Is he goofing off instead of doing his work, or is he getting all his work done really quickly and then goofing off? Well, getting it all done and then goofing off. All right, that's kind of on you. Give him more to do. Right? Like, I'll talk to him, but like, I've been in the classroom and he probably needs to be challenged more, or in a harder class. That's a whole separate issue. I have fought those battles, sat in principals' offices and fought those battles. But that being said, largely been thanked. and I can't take any credit for this because it was all Tamara fighting the battles when they were little, right? Like,
Sure.
I mean, I contributed
Yeah,
some,
yeah,
but like mostly it was her putting her foot down when they were little, when she was staying at home with them
right.
and fighting those battles of that's unacceptable behavior, and there's a consequence. And so I realized, like you, psychologists, people would argue that like they're too little to really understand. Bull crap.
I don't agree with that.
I think that they can start understanding that. And the best advice I ever got from somebody was a mentor of mine who said, just so you know, by the time they are 2 years old, you will have already established what's okay and what's not. Like the kind of dynamic you're going to have between what weight your words and their actions have. Like that dynamic is well established by the time they're 2. And I'm probably overestimating how long it takes for that dynamic to happen.
Sure.
So he was like, you know, be firm on the things that matter.
Yeah.
And like, and that's kind of what you're talking about, right? Like, hey, this is not going to be acceptable. And I'd rather you learn that lesson now than never truly learn it and then end up harming us, you know, becoming a spouse abuser, you know, batterer or something, because you never got those emotions in check. And obviously if
man child, just an impulsive, irresponsible man child that can't get your own life in order, because
my boys are winners and winners do what they want.
Look, I am also, you know, of the mindset that our children are growing up in a technological age, and we aren't going to be able, like, there's no good thing we're doing for them by sheltering them from that or trying to like hide them from technology.
I know.
So I'm all about exposing them to technology and allowing them. And I'm finding that Liam is so smart in certain areas that Harper isn't, and Harper is where Liam isn't. All that to be said. Liam has had an iPad for, I mean, a number of years, right? And he's 6. So, you know, do the math. But what I found in this last year is we started letting him watch YouTube. And there were moments where he would be on it for a while watching, and it would completely change his personality, his demeanor. He would be all hyperactive and like, you know, just not him. You know what I mean? And so I just flat out told him, it's like, look, you're going to be upset by this, but I'm taking this away because while I want to expose you to these things, it's my job to protect you.
Yep.
And when you're spending too much time on this, it's turning you into somebody that people don't like. Right. And you should realize that it's doing something to you. And as you get older, you're going to have to be able to self-manage. But right now I manage. And so I'm taking it away. Yeah. And he was like, you know, forever. Yes. I want you right now to think of it as forever, because I don't know when it's going to come back, but I don't want you worried about that. You need to understand that this is because I'm trying to protect you, and it is what it is. And I understand you're going to be upset. I'm sorry that you're upset. I'm here for you if you want to talk about it, but it's not changing. So let's go find some other things that we could do that could be productive, you know, and I'll hands down, I had that conversation with him and he cried. And then the next day he was fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's playing and he's it's okay.
Yeah.
So
anytime we've like, especially when they were a little bit younger and we take the internet away.
Yeah.
Like they adapt. Life goes on. Like, you know what happens? The Legos come out, the Hot Wheels come back out, and they just fill their time doing other. They don't just sit there like,
right.
Life is vapid.
I told Ashley, like, everybody's so afraid of being bored anymore.
Yeah.
Like being bored is a good thing. It pushes them to be creative, to find new things to do, to entertain themselves. Yes. It's like we got to stop worrying about that. And it's like, yeah,
that
you're losing
being
your
said,
iPad. Go be bored. Go be bored.
That being said, John, on that drive to Montana when there was no cell signal and I wasn't driving, that was like murder for me. So I will agree with you.
You are trapped in a car at that point.
I will agree with you that our kids should, it's okay for them to be bored. I don't want to have to ever be, though.
Yeah.
I'm a grown up.
That's right. That's right.
I'm a hypocrite with that. It's like, yeah, I agree. All right. I don't, but that's not for me, right?
I mean, it was when we were bored as children that's when we would do the, like, we're going to go explore. We're going to go play, guns in the backyard and good guys and bad guys and
That's
run
when
around.
I learned new stuff on guitar.
Right. That,
Right?
yeah,
Like
yes.
I
That
would be
has
laying
stuck
down,
with you
not
for
thinking
your life.
about, not thinking about anything, and just boom, 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 and accidentally play something. You're like, oh, that's that thing on that one. That's how they did that. And then you go and like, oh, okay. Like that's how learning guitar used to happen without YouTube.
That's right. That's right.
But yeah, it was when I was bored and I would just be laying there
Yep.
like, oh, okay. And like, yeah, something cool would happen. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think we both agree in this
Yep.
instance.
She's the asshole.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And if you don't do something, because not only are you an asshole, but if you don't do something about it and actually recognize that you are and make changes, your child is going to grow up and be one as well. And that's on you, you know?
Yeah.
So.
I agree. All right, John, should we call it?
I think so, man. Right on time.
So if you have, maybe you have some strong feelings on any of this, if you're still listening, feel free to hit us up at johnandnickshow@gmail.com. Maybe you got some listener mail, just something you want to, maybe you got an Am I the Asshole kind of like idea. Yep. You can put that in there. Also like, hey, I'm kind of interested on your like feedback on if you've been working from home or if you wish you could work for home, like give us some feedback on that too. It's always interesting to hear thoughts. We have our perspectives and that's the only perspective I have. So always open to other people's perspectives and learning from that as well. And so other than that, without further ado, I'm Nick.
I'm John.
And we'll see you next time.